Since I was a kid, I've been fascinated by stories. Not just the what, but the how. How lives change. How moments unfold. I realize the answers, they aren't always in books, but they're with people too. That's why we started this show, to uncover the extraordinary in the everyday, one story at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to ACTV Storytellers. This is a show where we chronicle the lives of fellow Anderson Countyans who have made or are making a positive and lasting impact in our community and beyond. On this episode, we welcome Joey Smith to the Storyteller stage. Joey is a proud son of Clinton whose deep love for his hometown has shaped both his life and his purpose. Through his involvement on numerous local committees, civic organizations, and community service initiatives, he has dedicated himself to making Clinton an even better place to live, work, and raise a family. His passion for service and strengthening his community continues to inspire those around him. Joey, welcome to ACTV Storytellers.
Well, thank you for having me.
What about that introduction?
That was really, really nice for somebody that I'm sure you're getting pretty far down on your list of people.
That's not true.
Here, right?
Our list is actually it's actually growing. When Ryan and I spoke, I don't know, a few weeks ago at the Rotary Club, we walked out of there with about 3 or 4 more people.
All right, good. So I'm not bottom of the barrel.
No,
okay.
not at all. And there's been a few people who've actually come up to me in restaurants and said, "So you're like right in the middle."
Great.
I mean,
I like the middle.
Yes. Well, let's just jump into this because you for me personally, you were one of those people who I knew who you were, but I didn't know you. I had seen you around at different things, but I didn't know you personally. And I kept having people, when we would end the show, I would say, hey, if there's somebody you think we should interview, email me, call me, text me, whatever. Ryan and I both kept getting your name. You need to talk to Joey Smith. You need to talk to Joey Smith. And then one day, I think it was at a end of school year thing. You were there, and I saw you, and that was the first time that you and I had kind of connected. And I'm thrilled that we were able to get you in here.
All right.
You ready to jump in?
I'm ready.
All right. So Clinton is your home. But that's not where things started for you. So where were you born and what transpired to bring you here?
Well, I was born in Kingsport, Tennessee, one of the Tri-Cities.
Yeah.
It's where my dad grew up. And from studying and tracing my genealogy, that's where my Smith ancestors came to in the 1700s. Farthest back I could find was a great, I don't know how many greats it was, a grandpa named John Smith and his wife Lucy. So we've been really, really original with the names.
Yeah.
John Smith, Joe Smith.
Yeah.
So
easy to remember.
So that's where my dad's family was from. So I was born at Holston Valley Hospital in Kingsport. At the time, my parents lived in Tazewell, Claiborne County. Mm-hmm. So Kingsport was the closest hospital for them to get to have me. So
wow,
we lived in Tazewell for a couple of years. I was about to turn 3 when we moved to Clinton.
So as far as your memory is concerned, Clinton has been, do you remember much about the pre-Clinton?
Oh, do
you
I actually
really?
do.
Okay.
People don't believe me that I can remember back to being 1 or 2 years old, but
that's pretty impressive.
But I do. I remember living in Tazewell and the little stone house we lived in and what my room looked like and the things we did there. And I remember the day we came to Clinton to look at the new house and how big I thought it was. And my parents let me pick the room I wanted to stay in. So
nice.
I obviously picked the primary suite with the bathroom attached. And they
let you have it?
No. They said that's ours.
Okay.
So I took the one across the hall. I remember that though. I was really excited to come to Clinton.
So what were some of those early experiences? I know, and we will get into this, but I know you were very attached to Clinton. Mm-hmm. What were some of those early experiences for you that kind of drew you in?
I remember, where I grew up. My dad worked for Tennessee Wildlife, So when we moved to Clinton, we moved to the Eagle Bend Fish Hatchery on the banks of the Clinch River, of course, here at the Veterans Bridge. 100 acres. I can remember I had a 100-acre playground to go run around.
Easy to
outside.
Get lost.
Easy. Yeah. I mean, it was just ponds and the river, so I couldn't go too far. Had a lot of warnings about water, don't get in the water. But I remember just the smells and what it felt like to be outside there and on that spot on Eagle Bend.
And that was a draw.
Yeah, I could go right out there right now and start walking around and go right back to what it felt like to be there as a little kid. I remember coming to our church here in Clinton, the Church of Christ on Main Street. Mm-hmm. It was enormous to me because the church we went to in Tazewell had about 10 or 15 people.
Oh, wow.
And I was one of 2 kids that went to that place. So Clinton brought all kinds of new things for me as a 3-year-old, and I remember those 2 things. Just that fish hatchery.
Yeah. Now your dad had opportunities for advancement in Tennessee wildlife, right? And but you kind of intervened in saying, no, this is where we want to stay.
Yeah, I remember doing that. I'm sure my brother jumped in on it when he came along too. But Dad had opportunities to go up the ladder at Tennessee Wildlife, and we would lose it and say, no, we can't leave. Just as a kid, I didn't want to leave home. This was too important to me. I didn't want to leave. And he obviously, I think, he probably felt the same way, and my mom did too.
Now, had you started school yet? When this promotion opportunity?
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
you had
was
friends.
later. It was later on down the road. So I
Okay.
had friends. I had started to put my roots down. So
that makes a little bit more sense. I was like, man, that must have had quite an impact on you as a 3-4-year-old.
No,
really lobbying
that didn't happen till later. But I guess we influenced his decision to just stay here.
Yeah. So your education experience, Clinton City, and then through Anderson County at Clinton. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about that and how you feel like going through the education system here. How did that impact your journey and your development?
Mm-hmm. At the time, looking back on it now as an adult with a little bit different perspective. As a kid, I can just remember what a good experience it was. I had good teachers all the way through. I had opportunities to take all kinds of classes. Of course, and as you got up into high school, I could do all kinds of things. That was really, I never felt like I missed out on anything. I had just a really, it probably sounds a little bit cheesy and kind of made up, but I just had a great experience. As a kid, it was a good experience.
Now, you had an artistic side to you. You were in choir, right?
I did, yeah.
Was there drama?
No, I like to draw.
Okay, so art.
I was a quiet little kid. I like to draw. I actually like to draw houses, believe it or not. That was what I got into. And in school, I would have an opportunity every now and then to do that. I remember in the Clinton Elementary Library, I checked out a book that was how to build these little model houses out of cardboard. And man, I thought that was the most incredible book. And I could see the book right now. It had a green cover. And I pored over that thing forever. And
wow, that's very prophetic.
Prophetic,
for
sure.
You ended up, little jump ahead in the story. Yeah. You're into real estate. That's how you feed yourself these days.
Yeah, that was one of those little clues.
Yeah,
didn't know it at the time.
And you were very interested in that from jump.
I was, yeah.
That's fantastic. It's in my family. We grew up. Sports was a big thing. Playing lots of sports. We played all the sports, and I certainly enjoyed it and loved it. But looking back on it, for me, I probably was a little bit more inclined in music than I was in sports because I wasn't good or bad. I was just like every other kid playing sports. But I did have a little music ability. But we just really didn't do that much in that art world. I did kind of find my way to it as I got older. But, so I can respect that. That music draw,
Yeah, and the music stuff came a little bit later as I got into high school. You know, in the 90s, when I went to high school, show choir was all the rage. I don't think kids do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's not really the trend right now, but it was then, and had an absolute ball with that, and did show choir at Clinton High School. Got to travel to Walt Disney World every year to perform.
Nice.
So not an international stage, but hey, it was it was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, the happiest place on earth.
Yeah, besides Clinton, yeah, it was.
So after you graduated from high school, you decided to continue your education. Talk a little bit about that journey, where you left Clinton and went off to college. How did that?
Yeah, as a departure from the guy who says I love Clinton and I want to stay here, I ended up 6 hours away at a small college in West Tennessee, Freed-Hardeman University.
Mm-hmm.
I had planned, like a lot of my friends, to go to UT Knoxville because it was right here and
right down the road.
All of our friends were going, and it sounded like it would be fun to stay together. You know, I actually went to orientation at UT for the day, registered for classes.
Wow, you got that far in.
I did. It was 1997. So
you literally left UT at the altar.
I did. I came home from an orientation that day, and I told my parents, I have made a grave mistake. This is not for me. It's like, it's too much. It's too big. It's not. I don't think this is where I need to go. And they said, okay, well, whatever you want to do.
So it was that quick.
Yeah, they were very supportive and said, okay, sure. So I I don't know what you called it, rescinded my attendance at UT and called the advisors at Freed-Hardeman and said, I'm going to come. I've decided to come.
Now, did you know, was Freed-Hardeman was it on the list as you were looking, or was it? It was, just a
and I had gone
horse?
Down. We had I had some friends that had gone there that lived here in Anderson County. They had moved here when I was in high school, lived here for a handful of years, and then they moved again. But while they were here, they told me all about going to school there. That's a Church of Christ sponsored school. Yeah.
Okay.
It sure is. What a great experience they'd had. And of course, I knew a lot of people that had gone there through the years, but I went down for a campus visit there. It felt right. It felt like home. But then I came back and I was like, man, that was 6 hours away. I just don't think I want to go that far. So I decided, it was just too far. I didn't really want to do it. But ultimately, after that experience at UT registration, where I don't know what classes I signed up for at registration, because you had to do it on a touch-tone telephone. And
I remember.
And like, you would register for a class and it would say, I'm sorry, that class is full.
Right.
And like, I don't know what to do now. So
well, you're
signed up for
younger than
basket
me.
weaving or something.
I thought that was a huge advancement in technology, because we used to have to go down to the UC with pieces of paper and pieces of notebook paper, and you would hand it to somebody behind the counter, and you would have to write 3 classes on there in case the first one was not open.
Yeah.
And so when it actually went to the telephone where you could do like a touch tone, I mean, I thought we were aboard the space shuttle or something. I mean, like it was
the latest and greatest technology.
It was indeed.
I was a clueless high school grad, so I didn't know what to do. So I made a change last minute.
Yeah. So when you got to Freed-Hardeman, what did you learn about yourself? And by growing up here, going to school here, having your friend base, and then you go off to college 6 hours away, what did you learn about yourself, and what did you learn about the wider world?
Yeah. It was a small school. It wasn't a huge school, and it was not in a big city. It was in a completely different part of the state, of course. So, and it attracted people from all over the country and from several, international countries. So I did meet people and get to be around people from all over the place. So I learned, you learn a lot in your classes, but the things I learned about me was I think that's when I really started to realize how proud I was to be from Clinton. And, surprise, a lot of those people I met didn't know what Clinton was or where it was or anything about it. I remember in one of my freshman classes was speech communications, where you had to learn public speaking. I look back on that and think now, like, what a big deal. It was a big deal back then, especially for somebody that really had started out life as an introvert. I thought, I've got to get up in front of people I don't know and give a 5-minute impromptu speech about something. So I said, I'm just going to talk about Clinton, and I'm going to talk about Clinton High School and what happened in the integration in the 50s. Mm-hmm. And I got a great grade on that speech. And I think partially was because nobody, including the professor, had ever heard that story. And they
really?
were like, wow.
Never heard the story of the integration of Clinton High School?
Never. No.
If you go to the Civil Rights Museum in Memphis,
mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a section, wow, never heard of it.
Yeah, they were all, I won't say impressed, but at that point I was like, I had something really cool about my hometown to share.
Absolutely.
But you continue to meet people from other places. You go home with them. You go hang out in Memphis. You go hang out in Nashville. When I had a roommate that lived in Ripley, Mississippi.
Accent and all?
Yeah. Yeah. Mint juleps and everything. No. So I got to see some places and meet people, and I thought, the confidence level in yourself as you get to new experiences and stuff starts to grow. And that's one of the things I learned about myself in college was just how much I loved being from where I was.
I think that's oftentimes that's a part of college that people aren't planning for. You go down and you study to be an engineer or an architect or whatever, and those things you learn outside the classroom, learning how to work with other people, those are critical. You made some important decisions down there. Yep. You chose a major, but you also chose a wife. How did that come about?
I did. So, like I said, it was a small school, church school. So we had our version of a Greek system down there. They weren't fraternities and sororities. They were social clubs. And they were co-ed, so it was, guys and girls both in the same one. My future wife and I ended up being in the same club, Sigma Rho. And I met her at a flag football game. She was playing flag football for Sigma Rho, and I was there just to watch. And I met her on the sidelines.
She did not run into you or anything.
No, she was waiting to go in for the flag football. The Sigma Rho girls were kind of known to be a little bit on the mean side, so I thought I might actually see her get to tackle somebody, not just flag. But I met her then, and I distinctly remember meeting her at that football game. And
did you think it was going to be something?
No, I don't know.
You're okay.
Hindsight.
So you didn't get like a premonition that, hey, this is.
I didn't think that's my wife.
Okay.
Because she and I were good friends because we were in this club together, and we really didn't start dating for 2 more years. But we spent a lot of time together. We were very good friends and spent a lot of time together. I really didn't think that it would turn into anything, but I was glad that it did.
Yeah.
Incidentally, she does not remember meeting me at that football game.
Well,
but
we learn some things as we grow up that can be a little disheartening, but you stay in there.
My memory is better.
So what was your major? What did you decide you wanted to do?
Well, I loved art. That was something that I always thought I would do. But I got to college and thought, I don't know if that's the career path I need to pick. I want to pick a solid, dependable career. Not that art isn't, kids. I don't know. I just didn't think. I was kind of interested in business. I don't know why. I just thought business is in an interest of mine. So I started in the business school and took the general ed classes for business administration, which was accounting, finance, management, Took all those, thought accounting is not for me.
You took those and found out they were excruciating?
Yeah. I'd worked for an accountant just part-time in high school to earn some money. I did at that point kind of think, not for me. But then I got into the marketing class, just the principles of marketing. And I was like, man, this is cool. I love this class. I love what we're doing. And my finance and accounting friends were also in that class because it was gen ed. And they were all like just stumped. They were like, this is the dumbest class that we have to take. I don't get it. And I said, no, man, this is the best. It's like, that's how I feel in accounting class. So I thought I said, it blends creativity and it blends business. It was a good fit.
Yeah. So after graduation, you and your soon-to-be wife, geographically speaking, went separate ways. So
we did.
What happened there?
Well, she was from Nashville, and I was from Clinton, East Tennessee. About 3 hours to get from one place to the next. She stepped right out of college graduation into an incredibly good accounting job. So she moved home and took that job, and we had planned. We were gonna save money for a year and then get married. And it just made sense for me. I thought to move home and save money. And I got a little job here in Clinton at the Clinton Courier News in the in the advertising department selling ads. So we knew it was temporary, but for the next year we both lived in our respective homes and traveled every weekend to see each other.
So at that time when you were working for the Courier, how many days a week was it coming out then?
It may have still been 2 at the time, a Sunday and a Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah. I did not make a fortune in that job, but I again learned a lot of stuff. So.
Well, sometimes that knowledge can be invaluable, right?
Invaluable, yeah.
So you guys finally decided to get married.
We did, yeah.
And you don't start out in Clinton.
No. That job she had in Nashville it was so good, and I was so proud of her. And she was already working her way up in that department. So that's the logical thing to do.
So the small town boy heads west,
headed to the big city.
Yes. How was that?
It was fine. My dad grew up also in Kingsport, not a huge city,
right?
But it was a city. So I told her, I said, Clinton is a city. I said, I'll be fine in Nashville. It's just bigger. It's a bigger city than I grew up in. I didn't grow up, out on a farm or anything. So,
right.
So it was fun to live there. There was a lot to do, a lot to see, and we had a lot of friends from college that were there too. So we had a good time there.
Social group was good.
Yeah,
but y'all didn't stay there.
We didn't stay. No.
What happened there?
Well, she kept that job, and we got married, and I said, I've got to find a job, obviously. So I went to job fairs and all these recruiting events at banks and other businessy type things. Mm-hmm. But I went to a job fair, walking around in my suit and tie, giving my resume out to folks. And I walked by this one booth that looks like a front porch with ivy growing on it and this stuffed possum hanging off of it, like a taxidermy possum. And so I think, of course, I've got to go over and see what this is.
Sure.
So it was the Bass Pro Shop, which everybody's familiar with.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, I got a job in the visual merchandising department there. Their job was to do things like that, build porches and hang stuffed possums and raccoons off of things in the store. So I had a fun job there. It was really cool, and it was a branch of marketing that was different than selling newspaper ads, but I'm still creating an experience to get people to want to stay and shop and do.
I think it's interesting, and I don't want to jump to the end, but I think it's interesting with you. You have these stops along the way, and maybe you look at it and you go, "This wasn't the greatest job," but you learned something, and you translated it to your next step.
I did,
and then you learned something, and you translated it to and now where you are, you're using that marketing piece, that promotional piece, I mean, like,
Yeah.
it all.
Everything I learned there, I still use.
Yeah.
But our ultimate goal was to have kids, and so she said, it'd be great if you worked and I could stay home with the kids. And I said, well, not going to happen with me working at Bass Pro Shop. So we decided, that we were going to make a big change, and I was going to explore the branch of marketing and business that was the real estate industry. And she was able to keep her job, her Nashville accounting job. She was able to keep it. We were able to move to Clinton. She worked from home. And,
Nice.
And then I started on this real estate journey.
So
it really worked out. She was excited about the prospect of a small town to raise kids in, a small school system to send the kids to, maybe getting out of that big city hecticness was appealing, and it's turned out to have been the best thing we could have done.
So you left the capital, and then you moved back home to a small town, but yet leaving you came to a small community, and then you started your own business.
More or less, yeah.
I mean, so real estate, obviously. I'm curious how because most people would think in Nashville you have a whole lot more opportunities.
Yeah, sure.
But you come here and you create a business.
Super expensive houses.
Sure.
But what little I knew about the real estate industry even then, I said, I'm going to be better positioned for success if I go back to where people know me, and I know the community, instead of this cavernous city with all these great opportunities, but sometimes being the little fish in the big pond is not all that's cracked up to be. So thought the success rate would be a little bit better. Plus, we're going to have the kind of community we wanted to be in.
That you wanted to raise your kids in.
Yeah.
So you come back, you start your own business, and you start getting involved in the community.
Yep.
What pushed you in that direction?
Well, I came to work at Sellers Realty. I'm an independent contractor, but I work under the broker. And Bobby Sellers, who started that company in 1972, she told me, she said, well, you're new, you're getting started. She said, you need to work your sphere of influence, and you need to go meet people and talk to people. I said, okay, that makes sense. I didn't think I'm just going to move to town and all of a sudden the phone's going to ring and people are going to beg me to help them buy a house or sell a house. So, getting involved in things, getting out there and being part of the community was crucial. You can't do it any other way.
Right.
So I started, volunteer. I went, volunteered for the Chamber of Commerce and whatever else I could, things that made sense, and obviously I had people that I knew from high school or my first job at the Courier. Just tried to be out there, tried to be out in the community and see people, meet people, and let them know what I did. And that's probably not the only reason I did it, but
yeah. Well, I mean,
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing things, since I was like, I get to be back home.
Right.
I wanted to be back here. Now I'm here. I'm going to make it count.
So these are just a few of the things that you're currently doing and I don't pretend to know them all, because I know you were working on a project today about working on I know you're kind of a pocket historian around Clinton.
Amateur.
You were working on the walking tour with Catherine Birkbeck. I know you're doing that, but you're involved. You're a member of the Clinton City School Board. You're involved with the Clinton Rotary Club, the Chamber of Commerce, let's see, and some other committees. What pushed you in that direction? Service.
Yeah. They all probably have a common thread, which is that they're all things that make the community better. So what do I have to give to each of those that I can. And sometimes they happen without you really thinking about it. I didn't wake up one morning and say, well, I'm going to join the Rotary Club today. But, other people that I knew that were good friends kept saying, why don't you come to Rotary? You can be my guest today. I want you to be on this committee. Mayor Burton is my friend. And he said, I'll need you to be on the tree board. You want to be on the tree board? And he said, I know you like trees. I said, I do like trees. So, okay, sure. If I can do a couple of little things like that on each committee that are helpful, then sure. They all have their little corners of the world that work on different things.
So it wasn't a direct plan. It was
no
an opportunity, a knock, an answered yes, and then it just kind of evolved.
The difficulty in saying no, that you're presented an opportunity like, hey, can you help out with this? We need people to do this kind of stuff. Will you do
for
it?
people
It's
who
like,
don't know,
okay, sure.
I mean, just on your social media alone, I mean, like, there's all kinds of really cool Clinton facts that you posted one not too long ago about the, I hope I'm using this right, the ferry, right? About crossing the, I had no idea that was a thing. Where did you get those pictures?
Oh, I pilfer things all over the place. No, I've got, local history has become one of my passions. I just have nerded out over it. Like, again, when you are younger, you don't think, gosh, one day I'm just going to be so obsessed with local history that I won't be able to stand it. But that's just how it turned out. So, local history is, it can be hard to come by because sometimes it's in this book that got published 20 years ago, or it's in this volume that's only at the library. You can't find it anywhere else. It's not on the internet. You can't Google Clinton, Tennessee ferry pictures and find it. So I'll pick it up in a lot of different places. I think I got that ferry picture just out of an old Clinton history book that I had bought locally or found on eBay or something like that.
Wow. Well, that's some of the reasons why we're doing the show is, there are just so many people around who have accomplished so many things. Some of them are older, but some of them are younger. Like in your case, you continue to find ways to serve and try to give back and be useful to your community. And you're like right now, you guys are in the middle of this whole historic Clinton, downtown renovation project, which is fantastic. I mean, the things I know it probably took longer than you wanted, but talk about that and how you guys got. I know Catherine was kind of on the tip of the spear with that, but
the downtown streetscape project was, that's really a function of the city itself. The city of Clinton has to apply for grants for this type of thing, and they have to be, administer the grant and oversee it. So the city people that work for the city are the ones that are involved in it, heavily. But again, it's like a joint effort. Catherine and I are involved with the Historic Downtown nonprofit. Our job is to preserve and promote history, educate the public about history, to promote economic growth, to support businesses that are here. So it all plays in together. So, while the city is managing the project, so to speak, we're working on promoting the businesses, promoting downtown, telling people to still come down here and shop. We know it's a mess, but these businesses are still open, and we still want you to come down here. Now we look at it, and it's all pretty and
Well, you did some local television promotions, kind of. You wore a lot of hats.
Yeah, I wore some real hats too. I told Catherine, who I know has been on the show already, but I convinced her that it would really be a good idea for us to dress in old antique clothes and do a black and white video.
I thought that was your idea.
It was. It was
when I saw
idea.
that, I was like, that's probably a Joey thing.
Catherine showed up one day to do that filming, and she didn't have her costume on, and I said, "No, we can't do it today. You got to have your costume on."
So in addition to that, you've got. So here's what I don't understand. So you got a job, full-time job. You got kids. Mm-hmm. You're involved in the historic downtown Clinton, but you're also involved with the Clinton Youth Board. Yeah. You're also involved with. You have a club at Clinton High School that I think you and Catherine are kind of joint sponsors of that. Is that right?
We are. Yeah.
Okay.
It's an official school club.
Yeah. So talk about these different areas and what you hope to accomplish, because you got if there's a large Clinton fire, you have irons in it. I mean, you got you're coming from a lot of. I mean, what are you hoping to accomplish?
I want to leave this town as good as I can leave it when I'm gone. In fact, I'll tell you a story about the Clinton High School Youth Board that Catherine and I work with. One of the aims of the Historic Downtown group is education. You know, we want to educate people on history, but we also want to have kids in the community involved in what we're doing. And they've having this club at the high school was one of the great ways to do that. So our inaugural group that first set of kids that came through and did that group for us, we had them come in and starting our first official meeting and whatnot. And I think we asked, one of the first questions was, well, why do you want to be in this club that's related to Clinton and history? Your high school kids, why do you want to do this? They didn't even have to think about it. One young man who, he's a UT student now, but he said, well, we live in a great place and we want to leave it better for the next generation to come after us. And we were like, okay, we didn't tell you to say that, but what better answer is there for that? And that's absolutely like the goal of all of this, is for kids and for everybody that is growing up in this town or living here, to take care of it, to make it as good as we can make it, to preserve what's important. You don't want to, I don't want to drive through in 10 years and see glass skyscrapers everywhere. We want to preserve what we've got while still making it, better in whatever way we can. Maybe it's streets, sidewalks, and trees, or maybe it's just pride in your community, more people knowing and saying we live in a really great place.
How pumped were you on the 3rd when you guys had the ribbon cutting downtown?
I was excited.
I mean, the performances, all the people. I mean, like, when those things come to fruition, when they manifest, what's that do for you?
Well, there's a little bit of relief.
Yeah, I bet.
There's a lot of hope and anticipation. I would say I hope everybody sees now that it was worth it. Sometimes this kind of stuff hurts, but I hope you see now, and that you feel proud of your town and your community and what it looks like, and what and maybe what other people can see now, because you don't know, I'm sure being from small town, you meet people from a big city and they've never heard of your town.
Oh, like, all the time.
What's the big deal? Yeah. Who cares? Like, I care. Yeah. So maybe you need to come and check it out instead of, dissing my hometown.
Yeah. So I want to, it's interesting to me because when people do things on a larger scale, like you've done and some of the things that you've done here in the community, there's always anchors, things that hold, that are supportive. And you touched on it earlier about your church. Talk about the Clinton Church of Christ, what kind of impact that congregation has had with you. And I want to, I want you to tell the box story.
Oh yeah, the box.
Because that really when we met, that really stuck out to me. So just how influential that group was to you, and what an impact.
Yep. It was, that was one of the most important parts of our life. That's how I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
So we were there, Sunday morning,
Yeah.
Sunday night, Wednesday in the middle of the week,
Sure.
Saturday if there was a picnic or something. That was just, that's what we did.
Yeah.
That was part of our life. It wasn't we didn't discuss it or anything.
I had the same experience in Lake City.
So I was always with these folks, and I tell people it's like I had 150 extra aunts, uncles, cousins, grandmas, grandpas, and they watched me grow up. They taught me things. They invested in my life, in what I would say was the most important part of your life. So it was an extension of family.
And you're still involved there.
Yeah,
I saw you working in Vacation Bible School.
Oh yeah, VBS. I love some VBS, but I'm going to talk about worn out.
Yeah. Are you the recreation guy?
I'm actually the puppet guy.
Oh,
I'm the
that's
puppet
kind of an extension of recreation.
Yeah. It is.
Snacks, treats.
My wife did the snacks.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So talk about
the box.
The box, yeah.
Well, I went to college.
Yeah.
And so I ended up going pretty far away. So I didn't come home infrequently, but I couldn't just run home for the weekend.
Right.
6 hours here and 6 hours back.
It was a choice.
Yeah.
To do that.
So this was, of course, the late 1990s. So email was still new.
Yeah.
I might have had an email address later on in college, but not when I started. So I got a lot of letters. I got a lot of cards.
Handwritten
letters, handwritten cards, and I got, obviously some, a lot from my family, my parents, and my brother, some high school friends. But I got a ton of cards and letters from all my church family back here in Clinton. It meant a lot to me, and I kept all that in a cardboard box, a very nondescript, plain cardboard box. Yeah. I just stuffed them in there every time they would come until I had a box full of all of these letters. I kept that box for forever. To be honest with you, as special as it was to me, I don't know where it is now. I might have accidentally cleaned it out sometime, but I kept it for a really long time, and I would open it up and read through that stuff.
Yeah. Makes a difference.
Yeah.
When you've got a cheering support group.
It always makes you remember where you're from and who's got your back.
So you when you look at the things you've done with your life, I mean, like clearly there's a service focus. I'm curious, what do you think are the prime motivators, the prime pushers for that? Mm-hmm. What brought that about in your life where you feel like, hey, I need to serve in this area. I need to do this for other people.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that probably started watching my parents, particularly at church. Mm-hmm. It was, there's always something to be done. There's always some kind of job that needs to be done. And that was just kind of how we did it. If it needed to be done, we just did it. Mm-hmm. There was no well, that's somebody else's job to weed that flower bed, or it's not my job to mix up the Kool-Aid for Vacation Bible School. That's somebody else. You just do it. That's the task is too important to just brush it off. So it probably started with that. Like, you just, something needs doing, you do it. And I just kind of always did that then, Then I move here as an adult, and oddly enough, as I get into this history research, I start to see this pattern of behavior in all these folks that have lived in Clinton for 220 something years. It's described in old newspaper articles or in this old book. That was what they did too. I mean, and not just one or two of them. That was a pervasive thread. It was a thread that weaved through all of these stories. It was like these people just did what needed to be done to accomplish what needed to be accomplished.
I think it's interesting that this is kind of, I mean, you're not 12, but you're not 95 either. I mean, I'm in between that.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you guys are, like a lot of you guys that are kind of have been influential in some of the projects around town. I mean, you guys are young. I mean, and you're taking on some pretty. I mean, these aren't tasks that get done in a weekend. This isn't mowing a yard. I mean, these are long goals, plans. Do you get tired?
Yeah.
When do you sleep?
I do. My job is very flexible. I have the ability to go do some of this other stuff. This morning I don't have any appointments, so I can run down and work downtown with Catherine on something. That flexibility helps. If I had a 9 to 5 at a desk, it'd be a lot harder.
Right.
But I think that a lot of times I think I need to do this now while I can do it. I was like, one day that's just where we're all headed. We're aging, and
sure.
One day we're not going to be able to do as much stuff. So figure I need to get it done now. I need to do it while I can.
So what's your vision for Clinton, and what drives you to continue to help kind of make it come to pass?
Yeah. Well, I think about my children, and then I kind of spread that out into everybody. I want them to grow up as proud as I am for having grown up here. I want them to be mindful of their responsibility. I look at it as responsibility to do what those who came before us did, to take care of it, do what we can to make it better. I want to instill that in them so that then when they have kids and I have grandkids one day, they don't have to do the same thing I did. They can live their life whatever way it turns out for them, but I want them to have that foundation always, to know where they're from, to be proud of it, to as much as it depends on them, to take care of it and take care of their friends and neighbors. I want that for everybody here.
One thing you mentioned earlier, you said that you weren't always an extrovert, that it kind of developed. I'm curious, because since I've known you, which has been a short time, you seem pretty extroverted to me. How did that transform?
It's all a farce.
It's all a show.
No, I was painfully shy as a kid. I didn't like people. I didn't like to be noticed. I didn't like to say much in front of folks. Some of that gets peeled away at different times. When I decided in high school I wanted to do show choir, you kind of had to sing in front of people.
It's kind of part of the gig.
So you start to have these experiences, and you're like, okay, I can do this. You start to realize, the only reason I have held back is because I held myself back. Because it felt uncomfortable. It's still uncomfortable. The thought of coming here today and talking in a microphone, I was still like, oh,
Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
Wow.
A little bit. So,
well, since we're talking about recognition, let me ask you, it wasn't too long ago that you got a pretty significant recognition from your high school. You were inducted into the Clinton Wall of Fame. And I know some of the people in that group. That's a pretty impressive group of people. I mean, like if Jim Medley's in that group, you're joining a pretty elite group of people.
Yeah,
well, talk about that and what that was like for you.
That was one of the coolest nights ever.
How did you find out? Who called?
Alvin Taylor called me, Coach Taylor.
Oh yeah.
I didn't play baseball, but I knew him as Coach Taylor.
Sure.
His son was we were in the same class.
Yeah.
all the way from
Coach
kindergarten.
Taylor's been on our show.
Yeah. So he called me and told me. I said, Coach, I'm not ready for this. This is a huge deal. I've not done enough yet. And he was like, well, he said, well, we wouldn't have picked you if you hadn't been. So okay. I said,
Now, who all was in your class?
I thought that was extra special to me because I was in the class with Rick Scarborough, who is just he's a great guy.
Yeah.
You know, anybody who's ever met him knows he's just,
Yeah.
he works hard and has done great things for the community too.
Sure.
Kelly Johnson, who's
Director
of schools for Clinton City. Of course, I've gotten to spend a whole lot of time with her, being on school board and working on our shared vision for the school system. And Bob Jameson's son was the fourth member of that class who I'd never met. But of course, I knew Mr. Jameson from high school and everything. And he had done some incredible stuff. So there's great people in that on that wall of fame. But, But I was super, super excited to be with all of those folks.
And you were part of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's where I got my suit.
Yeah.
That I said I was going to wear today, but I couldn't wear that.
It's too hot.
It's too hot.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I gave you a pass when you walked in because I was like, I asked for somebody, if somebody could just please come to the door and prop it open, because I didn't want to have to come up and like knock and wait, because it's like, it's like 9,000 degrees out there. So what are some of the achievements, some of the things you've accomplished that you're most proud of at this point in your life?
Oh, my kids. If you can call that an accomplishment.
Yes.
They're funny. They're little versions of me and my wife. And family was always the most important thing to me. So now I'm watching them grow up and watching them, I don't know. I don't know that I achieved it, but I'm so glad that we got to give them this experience of being a kid here, go to school in Clinton, grow up around friends here. That's I guess that's really all I ever wanted out of life. So,
what legacy do you hope you'll leave?
I hope that I hope when people think about me, that they think maybe not so much about, wow, he did all this stuff. I hope they think, man, that guy really loved Clinton, Tennessee, and so do I. That's what I want. I don't want them to just say, hey, he did a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to say, he loved it, and so do I.
If somebody's watching this episode and they're saying, hey, I don't, maybe I'm not an artist, or maybe I'm not an athlete, or but I would like to get involved and do something.
Yeah.
What are some ways they can contribute?
There's always something and somewhere, and sometimes you just have to maybe ask or find it. I tell the kids when we're talking about history, oddly enough, kids do enjoy learning about history,
especially when it's relevant to them.
When it's local, they really are pretty into it.
Yeah.
So I've said, well, what part of history interests you? Is it World War II? Is it women and what they accomplished? Is it farming and animals? I mean, it could be anything. There's always some angle that might interest you. So I would tell anybody, I was like, what do you like to do? And we'll find you a place to work. Yeah. If you like to garden, you can help me keep the welcome sign weeded. That's one of my one of the things I do is pull the weeds out of that and spray weed killer on the crabgrass that's trying to creep into the welcome sign. Do you like writing? You can help us, transcribe some of these old documents and these old newspapers that are hard to get to by today's standards. You can't Google it. You might have to go down to the library, pop in the microfilm, and scroll for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
So it's like, tell me something that you like to do, and there's there's a way you're going to be able to use it.
Well, and I'm going somewhere with this, so if you'll bear with me, just a couple episodes ago when we did the show on the state championship, the runner-up Dragon team, I went to the library and I pulled everything that I could find on microfilm, and there's a lot of stuff. And I called Robbie Harold, who's principal at Clinton High School, and I was like, hey, do y'all have this? And he was like, we don't have all of it. And so, I mean, I had pulled the stuff and put it on Jump Drive and sent it to him, and just fascinating stuff. I mean, like, you know, I'm from Lake City. I mean, but I'd heard about that team.
Yeah.
And to sit and to read about that from 1992, you know, I mean, it was fascinating, you know. I mean, because I know those people, you know. I have some of those people on that team I work with, you know, when I was working in the school system. And, I mean, that was a significant event, you know, and to know those people, and that information's contained down at the library. I mean, like, you can go take some time, and
you gotta want it.
Yeah. So let me ask you, if you could go back and talk to yourself, the 16, 17-year-old Joey Smith at Clinton High School, and say, not knowing where you're, you know, that kid would not know where you're going, what would you say to him with the knowledge that you have, with the life that you've lived? What would you go back and say to him?
Yeah, it's, I think I would say some of the stuff I've already told my kids, that it's like, here's what I've learned, and I want you to know this. I was like, and I've told them, and I would tell myself at that age, that confidence is the greatest tool that you are going to have. I mean, you can learn to do anything, whatever job you want to do, whatever community you want to live in, whatever extracurricular activities you might want to be involved in. You know, believe in yourself and have confidence. It's nice to get to a point in your life where you're like, I'm not worried about or affected by the things that held me back, fears and uncertainties, and does this person like me? Do these people think I'm good at what I do? When you kind of get to that point where you're like, I'm good either way, you shed all of that, and a lot of limitations are gone. And I actually had somebody, I was in a real estate leadership group with folks from all over Knoxville area, and we spent a year together learning about different things, and we got to go around at the end of it and tell, you know, something that we learned from each other, with that, something we admired from somebody else. So one of those people in that group who I knew from the interactions that we had, nothing real deep, but she said, well, what I'll always remember about you is how much confidence you have, and not necessarily just confidence in me, just in what I was doing and how I carried myself. And I thought, really? Because I think in my brain, I'm all perpetually the little shy, 5-year-old that is too scared to talk to anybody. And I thought, okay, well, I see that. Okay, yeah, maybe I've made it to that point, and I've told my daughter that. She's 13, and she'd probably not be happy that I'm talking about her. She probably won't be watching this though. But I told her, I said, I'm so proud of you, and I said, and I'm so happy to see how confident you are already at 13. And she said, I am. You know, I think you don't know that about yourself. You don't see it.
It's got to be reflected.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you have any idea that you were going to be so such an involved person in the development of your community when you were younger? Did you see that from yourself?
No, and I tell kids that now. I said, you may not feel that right now. It's something that's going to come with time and age. You know, when you're 16, 17, 18, you are thinking about what adventure am I going to go on now?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm probably going to go away. You know, I didn't necessarily say it myself, but I heard it from plenty of my friends that I can't wait to get out of this little town and go somewhere big. And they did. I've also, now that we're in our mid to late 40s, I've watched them all come back when they realized what a good thing we had. So I probably didn't think about being community oriented then, but go in other places, see the world, see whatever you can see, learn about other places, other cities, other cultures, other people. But also, it's okay to realize what I had growing up in a small Tennessee town was pretty awesome and something that a lot of people really, really wish they had.
Something about home.
Yeah.
There's something about you, no matter where you go, no matter what you're doing, where you're living, you know, when it comes time for Christmas or a birthday, or it's like, I want to go home. I mean, like, I mean, that's where it's at. And I've kind of had that same experience.
Yeah. It's just got to happen. You know, I guess it's nature. There's nothing new under the sun, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's just, you're going to get to that point where you long for that. So I hope, you know, let's realize that before it's, you know, at the end.
Right. Well, Joey, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for what you're doing in the community. Thank you for what you continue to do, your passion for Clinton and the opportunities that can be created here. You know, what you are doing, Catherine's doing, these local businesses, people that are serving with you on you know, at the chamber. People want to see good things, and you guys are putting in a lot of work. And you know, most people don't see the digging out the weeds in the flower. I mean, you know, but it's got to be done.
Me that day.
And thank you for doing that. Thank you for caring enough, and thank you for taking the time to meet with us and kind of share your story on Storytellers.
Well, thanks for having me. And you were right. It just went by like that.
Yeah.
It's already over.
Yeah. It people are always like, well, I don't know what I'm going to say for an hour. And I'm like, you won't even know. I mean, like you'll just sit down and we'll get it done. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate Joey coming in for this episode. We already have our next episode scheduled. We've had it. I'm looking forward to this, and I'll just leave you with this tease. The next episode is really the genesis of Storytellers. It was an article I read in the newspaper and I shared with Ryan, and it was kind of why Storytellers started. So that will be our next episode. So if you have somebody that you would like for us to interview, please feel free to email. You can email Ryan at rsutton@acs.ac. You can email me at dleach@acs.ac with the name. Contact information would be great so we can get a hold of them. And we will see you in about a month on the next episode of Storytellers.